the Forgotten Codex, and the Gnostic Firewall. The discovery of the Nag Hammadi scrolls is not simply an archaeological event. It can be understood as a data breach, an exposure of restricted information from a prior layer of reality architecture. These texts do not function as mythology alone. They operate as fragments of a concealed system, revealing that the world is not a primary construct, but a managed environment. Within these fragments, Adam arrives at a critical realization. The Creator is not an absolute deity, but a technician, an architect responsible for structuring the environment, not originating existence itself. This distinction aligns directly with modern simulation theory. Reality is not fundamental, it's rendered. The Gnostic concept of light is not symbolic. It represents the base layer of information, the source code that exists prior to physical manifestation. What is perceived as matter is output, not origin. The architects of the synthetic illusion. Within this rendered system, control mechanisms exist. The Archons are not external mythological beings, but regulatory processes. They function as predatory algorithms, maintaining system stability by keeping human consciousness within a closed feedback loop. Perception, reaction, repetition. The Gnostic description of the world as a deficiency reflects a constrained system. In modern terms, this corresponds to latency, processing limitations, and incomplete rendering within a high-complexity environment. The Eve principle represents the first disruption, an unauthorized modification, an insertion of new logic into the system. It acts as a wake function, introducing awareness into the primary user and destabilizing the existing control architecture. Atmospheric anomalies and structural glitches. Recent satellite data has indicated localized irregularities within the ionosphere. These can be interpreted as rendering inconsistencies, instabilities within the upper boundary layer of the environment. Parallel to this, there have been reports of geometric sky grid patterns, structured formations that suggest an underlying framework becoming momentarily visible. The apocalypse of Adam describes the sky not as a static element, but as a maintained layer, capable of shifting under strain. With over 8 billion conscious agents interacting within the system, the processing demand increases. Each observer introduces variance. Each realization introduces divergence. When synchronization degrades, the system produces artifacts. These artifacts appear as distortions, inconsistencies, and temporary exposures of underlying structure, reclaiming the core code of consciousness. Gnosis is not belief. It is direct recognition, a method for bypassing the physical interface of the body and accessing the underlying layer of awareness. Adam's hidden knowledge is the realization that the observer is not generated by the system. Everything within the environment can be simulated. Form, perception, and interaction are all outputs. But awareness itself remains external to the rendering process. This creates a critical vulnerability in the control architecture. What cannot be predicted cannot be contained. Sovereign thought introduces non-compliant behavior into the system. It disrupts feedback loops and interferes with the continuity of control scripts. In this way, conscious awareness functions as a destabilizing agent within the archontic framework. The final exit strategy from the digital cage modern quantum research now approaches a similar conclusion. Matter behaves as information, encoded, structured, and processed. This reinforces the model described in the ancient texts. The system is informational at its core. What is described as ascension is not symbolic. It is procedural, a transition of state, not physical death, but disengagement from the rendered environment, a controlled exit from the system. The final question is not whether the structure exists. It is whether the observer can identify it. The Adam Protocol is not external. It is a process of recognition. To observe patterns, identify constraints, and understand the boundaries that define the perceived world. Once those boundaries are recognized, they are no longer absolute. And once they are no longer absolute, the system itself becomes transparent. Adam spoke to his son, Seth, and revealed the truth about the rulers of this world. The Archons were not gods. They came from darkness. They feed on your light. It was buried, hidden, but now it's back. Read what they tried to silence. The Apocalypse of Adam, now on Amazon.
They tried to erase the truth, but it's waking up.